Hi, I'm Jade Lotus, and welcome back here to Intimate Tutorials. And I'm honored, and thank you, Colin, for inviting me here today. And today, I'm going to be talking about the topic of semen retention. More on that in a little bit. But to start, let me just introduce myself. I'm a teacher of Taoist sexual alchemy, and also I'm a Tantra teacher. And I work with men, women, and couples around issues relating to sexuality, emotions, healing from traumas. And here I am today with Harry, and we're going to be talking today about the topic of semen retention. We're going to be talking about what it is, the history of semen retention, why someone might want to do it, and we're going to be also looking at techniques of how to do it. Hi, Harry. Thanks for coming along today.
Thanks for inviting me.
So you're interested in learning about semen retention?
Yes, yeah, I've had an interest in this practice for quite some time now, but haven't found anywhere to get a working practice or gain some more knowledge so I can actually make a start on the practice.
Okay.
So that's what I'm looking to sort of get out of today. Hopefully, some more information, maybe a beginning.
Okay, so what is it that interests you about semen retention?
Okay, there's multiple things actually. One thing that interests me is like an increase in physical and mental energy as a result of circulating the sexual energy within the body. I've got a Qigong practice that I already do, but it's a basic practice, and I'm looking to enhance that practice and add to that. And I think the conservation of energy will hopefully add to the other practices that I'm doing. It's something I've never tried before, so it's I think it'll be an interesting pursuit, something new. I've had good results with other meditations and yoga and things that I've practiced in the past, so I'm quite excited to start a new practice.
Okay, well, you're right in understanding that semen retention is about more than just repressing sexual energy or trying to block off sexual energy, which is an easy thing to kind of try to do.
Yeah.
But it's also something that can actually be quite harmful. So semen retention, as you say, quite correctly, it is about circulating your energy and using your energy, transforming your energy into whatever you want. So you can use it to heal your body, you can use it to grow love, self-love, you can use it for creativity, you can use it for enlightenment. It's a kind of like a multi-purpose energy, which we actually call, it's like a superfood for the soul. So it's a bit like having some kind of spirulina or something, and all the vitamins go into our body and they just make the body stronger. And it's the same with our sexual energy.
Right.
Our sexual energy is life force energy. So there's actually a pretty well documented history of men practicing semen retention going back for thousands of years. And if we look in the Orient, in the East, and we look particularly at Taoism, which has a very well documented history, there's records going back at least 2,500 years ago about semen retention, and this is actually relating to the king, the emperor, who was called the Yellow Emperor. And he's very famous because he was the one who got all the sages together and got the sages to write down the texts, which are the basis of Chinese medicine today. Right. So the emperors in those days, they would have going into thousands of wives, concubines, mistresses, and so on, living in these huge palaces with them. And obviously, with if you have about 3,000 women that you need to sort of pleasure, this is like more than a full-time job in itself, And a lot of these lords and emperors and so on, they were finding out that they were having so much sex that they were actually just ending up completely exhausted. And I think there was a couple of guys that actually died from having too much sex. So the Yellow Emperor, he realized he was having a problem, and he called on actually these three wise women together. So the most famous one of these three wise women is known as the Plain Girl. And these women, they taught him the art of what we can call sexual alchemy. So sexual alchemy is being able to have sex on a higher level than the mundane, usual level that we know sex as being. So if we look at maybe the mundane level of sex, you go inside the woman, you jerk backwards and forward until you come, and that's what most people think that sex is. Whereas when you the art of sexual alchemy means having like a conscious relationship with your sexual energy. So what you're actually trying to do is you're trying to tune into your sexual energy almost in a way that is a meditation, essentially, okay? So if you imagine this sexual energy, it starts in our perineum. It starts kind of down basically by the sexual organs.
Yeah.
And it's a powerful energy. So imagine you put a pot on the cooker and you light the gas underneath it and you've got water in the pot. And the water will start to sort of send off steam and it will start to fizzle and it will kind of rise up a bit and then it will boil and then really steam. So it's a bit like when you put on a pressure cooker and it's got that pressure thing and it makes that noise, it squeals, you know. And this is similar to what happens with sexual energy. But in a person who is completely and totally relaxed, who has no blockages, essentially what will happen is the sexual energy will rise up into our body. Now, sexual energy is life force energy. Sexual energy has the ability to literally create a life. And in the same way, it has the ability to renew our own DNA. So it's a kind of like, according to Chinese medicine at least, it's a kind of like natural process for the sexual energy to rise up through this channel in the center of the body called the thrusting channel. It rises up from the sexual organs into the heart. And in the heart, it combines with the energy in the heart. And it produces a third kind of energy. And this energy spreads through our body. And basically, it has the power to regenerate and heal our cells and also our endocrine system. Yep. Now, with most of us in modern society, we have what we can call blockages, which is stopping this energy moving. Okay, now maybe saying blockages, it sounds a little bit strange, but if we look at it, or, you know, it might be hard to visualize, but what we look at it is an emotion. Okay, so say, for example, you know, you're 2 years old, you're masturbating, and your parents see it, and they say to you, oh, that's disgusting, that's shameful, and suddenly you go, and you create an emotional block. So you put right here an emotion, feelings of shame, feelings of guilt about what you did, and you block off your sexuality from the rest of your body. Or maybe you have a girlfriend you're really in love with, she breaks your heart, and you're going to put a block here because you don't want the energy coming up into your heart and you don't want that place that's been hurt to be bothered again. A bit like you've got a broken leg and you're just sitting with your leg in the cast and you don't want someone bumping it. So this emotional blockage that we're talking about, this, for example, let's talk about a feeling of shame and guilt, which is living just here, just by the pubic bone, in what in Tantra is called the sexual chakra. So what this does is it actually puts pressure on the sexual energy. So this sexual energy isn't able to rise. And this is a cause of sexual frustration. It's a cause of premature ejaculation. It's a cause of so-called blue balls that guys get. In women, it's a cause of anorgasmia, and it can also be a cause of actual physical problems, you know, including problems with the womb, sexual problems with the male, with the prostate and the testicles, and so on. Because what you've done is you've kind of like, you've got your pot of water, it needs to boil, you know, to send the steam out into the room or up into our bodies, but instead what we've done is we've put a big weight and a pressure on it, you know. So depending how much pressure you have there, in my opinion, the cause of, even when we look at people who will take like extreme risks, you know, for example, rapists, pedophiles, people who are maybe risking putting their relationship at risk by cheating on their partner, or people acting in ways that sexually aren't in control, maybe they might be referred to as sex addicts. What's basically going on there is their energy is really, really blocked, and it's boiling, and it wants to come out, you know. And when you look at maybe a guy with premature ejaculation, it's a bit blocked, not as much blocked. But what happens, you know, with some men, they just get aroused, and before even a woman has touched them, they will come. You know, with a lot of men, most men, I mean, I think the average amount of time for lasting in bed for a guy might be like 5 or 6 minutes or so on. You know, so actually, I would say, like, collectively, given that, you know, we do grow up in this society where we're kind of told, put sex in a box, put it over here, kind of ignore it, access it in bed, but, you know, leave it alone for the rest of the time. That to some extent or another in males, it's causing a blockage, which is causing men not to be in control of when they ejaculate. And in women, it's causing a blockage, which is blocking women from basically being multi-orgasmic. So what we're trying to do through the practice of sexual alchemy, rather than you just trying to stop the sexual energy, we want to bring this sexual energy up. We want to create a better experience for you with your sexuality. Rather than you repressing it, we want to actually give you more fun and hopefully take this into a place where you can have full body orgasms, so you can orgasm without ejaculation.
Right.
So the plain girl was the teacher of the Yellow Emperor, and she taught him the art of sexual alchemy. Now, these were arts, these were skills that were known to people, for example, living in the mountains. They'd probably already been practiced for thousands of years. But this was when it was written down, this was when it was documented, and this was when it was brought into the practices of the wealthy and the powerful in China. So she taught him this skill, how to have sex without ejaculating, but to still have an orgasm. Right. Now, the secret to it basically is that what you want to do is you want to learn to raise your sexual energy up your body. And every time you raise your sexual energy up your body, you're increasing your energy. Now, when I teach people about semen retention, I don't try to put goals of saying, you know, you need to stop ejaculating, you mustn't ejaculate for 3 months or even for 1 week or whatever, because I think that it's very much about coming into a relationship with your own sexual energy, learning how to move it, and then the natural process of that is that you just want to ejaculate less. Because if you put yourself as a goal, you know, for example, I'm not going to come for 3 months, what you can actually end up doing is basically blocking your sexual energy, causing like energy blockages inside yourself, causing a lot of stress in your body. Whereas what this should actually be is like a gentle, pleasurable experience where you're using your the power of your intention to move your sexual energy, to transform your sexual energy, and to use your sexual energy for whatever you want to use it for in your life.
So you mean it's less of a sort of disciplined abstinence and more of a like focus on connection with your internal energy through this practice?
Yeah, I think it's a balance of those things. I mean, it's great to set yourself goals, but you know, if you're, for example, if you've been ejaculating every day and you decide not to ejaculate for a week, and after 3 days, if you're feeling absolutely terrible, I don't think there's a point in torturing yourself, you know.
I see.
It usually works best to just reduce, but really just work on moving that energy, because moving that energy, transforming that energy is an amazing feeling. Like it's real, like vibration inside your body that's like, it's so relaxing, it's so pleasurable. And when you focus on the pleasure of it and what you're getting out of it and the benefits of it, rather than looking at the negative, you're much more likely to get positive results.
Okay, great. So now that I'm ready to start the journey, how do I actually go about beginning the practice?
Now, the techniques of how we're going to work with this energy, they're quite simple. So what we're going to learn to do is we're going to learn to cultivate or to grow energy. We're going to learn to move energy, and we're going to learn to transform energy. And this is all based on the principle that you probably know from martial arts. And the principle is, wherever the attention goes, the energy goes. So for example, by looking at you, I'm sending energy towards you. And it's the same thing, that we can gather and we can grow energy inside of ourselves and inside of our bodies simply by putting attention to certain parts of ourselves. Right. So let's just do a quick exercise, a quick practice. And what we're going to do is we're going to first tune in with the energy of love in our hearts, which is something that hopefully everybody is to some extent familiar with. Yeah. And when we want to tune into energy inside of our bodies, what we need to do is we need to shut our eyes and we need to look inside with our eyes. So if we just try now, just quickly shut your eyes. You can place your hand over your heart and just look inside your body. Make a connection with your heart. Observe your heart and just tune into the energy that you're feeling there. So let's just shut our eyes as we did in the exercise before. And we're going to shut our eyes and we're going to bring our attention into our bodies. And first we can just take note of our breathing. And hopefully we're relaxed and we have relaxed breathing. And as we are breathing, we should feel that the belly is rising and falling. And now let's focus our attention into our hearts. And you can place your hands over your heart to help to direct the energy there. And look inside your chest and actually find where your heart is. So in the center of the chest, just slightly to the left. And make a connection with your heart. So you can imagine that you've just bumped into an old long lost friend you haven't seen for a very long time, and you are smiling to them. So in the same way, we're going to smile to our hearts. And as we do this, we're going to send feelings of love and acceptance into our hearts. And in our hearts we can connect with the energy which we call the energy of the fire element. And we can feel that as a red light. And we can connect with and feel the emotion of love. So let's just take a couple of relaxed, deep breaths as we tune into that feeling of love inside of our hearts. And really feel it growing. We can visualize a red ball, like a kind of red baseball of love energy inside of our hearts. And let's just leave that ball of red light, ball of love inside of our hearts. And now let's move our attention. We can also move our hands down to the sexual center. So the sexual center is just above the pubic bone. It's approximately where the womb is located in a woman. And let's connect with that energy center and smile to it. And here in this energy center, we can connect with the energy of orgasm. And we can notice that this energy corresponds to the element of water, and that it comes from the kidneys. So we can imagine it like a peaceful, still blue lake on a summer day. We can feel its peacefulness, but also we can feel its power. We can also see how this energy is connected to our DNA, which is wisdom and information that we inherit from our ancestors. And it connects us to every human who's come before us, and also to anyone who will be coming after us through the chain of DNA. So I like to visualize here a cave which is full of our ancestors, and they're sitting around a fire telling stories. And just to really feel this power, the power of our sexual energy, which is literally able to create a new life from a single cell. So let's just spend a few moments breathing into the sexual center and connecting with the qualities of our orgasmic sexual energy. Let's use our intention and let's bring that lake of orgasmic energy together into a ball in our sexual center, and we can almost have our hands around it, almost feeling that we're actually holding onto this ball. We're smiling to the energy. And in a moment, what we're going to do is we're going to squeeze our perineum, we're going to breathe in, and as we're doing so, we're going to use our intention with the help from our hands to move the ball of energy up into our hearts. So let's breathe out all the way, really connecting with the ball of energy. And once we've exhaled all the way, we're going to gently squeeze the perineum and we're going to breathe in and we're going to pull the ball of blue energy up into our hearts. And we're going to place it in our hearts. And we're going to smile to our hearts. And here in our hearts we're going to feel that we are combining together the energy of orgasm and love. So you might feel a little tingly sensation in your chest as you do this. And we can visualize that this red energy inside our heart is just growing a little bit darker, like a kind of burgundy color. That the energy is starting to actually vibrate a little bit faster and it's starting to grow. So holding this ball of energy that we've now created, this new kind of energy, holding it in our hands. On the next out breath, let's move the ball of energy slowly back down into the sexual center. And placing it into the sexual center. Let's smile to the sexual center and we can notice that we're bringing warm energy into a cool lake, so we can feel that energy is also vibrating a little faster. You can almost visualize the sun coming down and setting over this lake, and we can see it's changing in color. And it's also changing the quality of the energy to a kind of a purple color. And smiling to the ball of sexual energy. Let's again breathe out all the way, connect with the ball of energy, and then gently squeeze the perineum and pull the energy back up into our hearts. Place it into our hearts and smile to our hearts. Now we can just feel very subtly a little bit more is going on in our hearts now, and that energy is really starting to move and to transform and to increase. And we can notice now it's more like a purple color. And then let's exhale, bringing the purple energy down into the sexual center. And we can really notice that this sexual energy is warming up as well. And now let's just continue to breathe, and as we breathe up, We'll bring the sexual energy up, and as we exhale, we'll bring the love energy down. And as we mix these two energies together, we can notice they're just becoming one energy. And instead of having a red and a blue energy, we have a purple energy. And we can feel that these energies are gently vibrating. And they're spreading through our bodies. And what we can notice is that these vibrations are actually spreading into our cells and vibrating our cells. So what this is actually doing is it's vibrating and opening up the structure of our cells so that it can allow cells that are unhealthy or sick to return back to their original structure and programming. So by transforming our sexual energy and combining it with love energy, we literally have the power to reprogram and to heal our body on a cellular level. And just to end, let's place our hands again over our hearts. Smile to our hearts. Let's just place that energy and ground that energy we've been working with into our hearts so that we leave ourselves with a nice, open and strong heart. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back into the room. So how was that?
Yeah, good. Again, as before, I can initially feel energy at the two centres that we've been focusing attention on, but I'm not quite getting the feeling of the energy moving up and down so much at the moment. It seems to be energy here,
Yeah.
and the movement. But I guess that comes with the regular practice of the meditation, or
Yeah, it might be that there's some tension here and a bit of a block, you know, that through doing the meditation you're going to work on. But the most important thing is if you get any sensation of energy and you know that you're cultivating energy, you know that what you feel is energy, you just need to keep working on it, because normally when people start this, it can be quite subtle. The first feelings you get can be quite subtle. So sometimes it might just be a little bit of warmth or feeling a bit relaxed, or for example having saliva in our mouths is a good sign that something's going on energetically. But as we do it more and more, then we start to feel like a stronger vibration, you know. So it's about, in a sense, you know, these energy centers are there, and it's about just learning to activate them and work with them. And the more that you practice it and the more you especially relax into it, the more you're going to feel it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So I hope that this introduction to the art of sexual alchemy, to learning semen retention, to also learning how to last longer in bed, I hope that this has been useful for you. And if you want to find out more, you want to learn more, I do sessions on Skype. I also do sessions in person, and I do bodywork sessions, which can really help to open up the flow of sexual energy coming up your body, can help to make you last way, way longer in bed. You can learn to have full body orgasms. You can learn the same thing through meditation sessions on Skype, and contact me via my website.